Hello there. Welcome to this channel, where we will be reviewing the movie stories. Today we will see about the movie named 13 Ghosts. I have covered the plot as far as my understanding. Please watch the movie, and have fun. Without further ado, let's get into the video. The movie begins with a tense sound, as a group of people enter a car dump yard, and urgently set up some machine equipment. Ghost hunter, Cyrus Kritikos and his psychic assistant, Dennis Rafkin, arrive at the yard in a car. Cyrus reassures Dennis to be in a clear head to perform his part of the psychic assistance for the night. However, when Dennis tries to identify the ghost in the yard, he realizes that Cyrus was lying about the ghost only killing 9 people, when it had actually killed over 40. Dennis warns Cyrus to evacuate everyone from the place. He also inquires why the ghost is being called the Breaker, as it seems to be a folklore. Since Cyrus is willing to spend a lot of money on capturing the ghosts, Dennis tries to find out what he is intended to do by touching him suddenly, which leads to a vision of a weird machine and gears, a zodiac sign floor, and other items. Cyrus warns him not to get too curious. Meanwhile, the guards capture 2 people, Damon and Kalina, who tried to stop them. Damon warns Cyrus that he will not be successful in his method, since he doesn't have the correct spells, and would require a 13th ghost. Cyrus orders his guards to remove Damon and Kalina from the site, and proceeds to place the cube in position to capture the ghost. When Dennis questions Cyrus about the 13th ghost, Cyrus ignores him, and orders the crew to initiate the process. A truck full of blood is spilled on the track, and recorded spells begin to chant, while the cube is kept open. As a result, piles of cars fall around the yard, and people get killed by an evil force. Cyrus and Dennis see the ghost through the spectral glass they wear, which enables them to see the malevolent ghost. It starts throwing cars on people in the yard, killing them. One of the guys enters the cube, trapped along with the ghost. Dennis tries to save him, but the ghost has already killed him in the cube. Kalina shouts that Damon has died and calls for help. Dennis sees that Cyrus also had his neck slit by the metal sheets in the yard and is dead nearby. Cyrus's nephew Arthur mourns the death of his wife, who died in a fire accident after being severely injured. Arthur, along with his kids Kathy and Bobby and babysitter Maggie, starts a usual day at their home. While they complain about daily chores and the small size of their place, a mysterious man arrives at their home with a suitcase. He introduces himself as Ben Moss, who is taking care of Arthur's late Uncle Cyrus's property and deeds. He then shows them a video that Cyrus has recorded and kept in his deed to show Arthur in the event of his death. In the recording, Cyrus says that Arthur is the inheritor of his property if he dies, and that it is his way of making up to Arthur since they had not acquainted much while he was alive. He also claims that his house is to be handed over to Arthur, and the lawyer hands over the key to Arthur. Kathy seems excited to live in that luxurious house, and asks Arthur if they are really getting the house. The lawyer takes them to a remote house. Along the way, Arthur and his family are curious and excited that things are starting to get better for them. Kalina gets prepared with some scripts, books, and dynamite. When they arrive, Ben is surprised to see someone already outside the house checking something. Dennis is disguised as a power guy to check the breakers, and asks Ben to show him the house. While Ben tries to refuse, Arthur invites Dennis to view the house. Arthur inserts the key Ben has given him, and a mysterious mechanism starts activating, along with the power to the house, turning on and doors opening. The whole house appears to have glass instead of walls. Arthur and his kids are excited to see many antiques in the house, and Arthur thinks it must be a fortune with just the artifacts themselves. Dennis senses something is wrong, and questions himself what Cyrus has done with the house. Bobby tries to step on a rotating disc on the floor, but Arthur pulls him off, and warns his kids not to move from that spot. Ben urges Arthur to sign the papers to transfer the property to his name. Despite Arthur's warning not to wander around the house, the family begins to explore. Dennis, on the other hand, is there to collect the payment owed to him for his work on the house. While in the basement, he discovers several chambers that resemble the ghost capturing device he has used before. Arthur notices the rare artifacts and informs Ben that he is not sure if he wants to keep the house due to the high taxes. However, Ben assures him that Cyrus has made arrangements to provide for Arthur and his family. As Dennis becomes more and more unsettled, He puts on his glasses and sees that all of the ghosts they have captured before are imprisoned in the chambers, with spells engraved on them. Just as Arthur is about to sign the papers, Dennis intervenes, and explains that he used to work with Cyrus to hunt ghosts, as a ghost hunter. He was panicked, since he had encountered a ghost from under the basement. Ben recalled that the lawyer's office had warned them to be aware of Dennis, since he might do something to stop the property transfer. Arthur thought that Dennis was out of his mind and kidding, while Bobby and Maggie started checking the rooms. Dennis warned Arthur to get his kids out of the house while they still could. He explained that the containment cubes were all over the basement. Ben tried to persuade Arthur to ignore Dennis, while Kathy checked one of the rooms for herself and looked through the stuff in it. During another convulsion caused by the ghosts, Dennis fell down, and Arthur tried to help him, during which Dennis gets visions about Arthur's past and his wife, who got burned in an accident and died. At that time, Ben went to the basement to check for the money. However, the trap set with the suitcase triggered the machine to start, locking down the house. Arthur and Dennis started searching for the kids, while one of the ghosts was released, as the countdown started running. Ben, while leaving the basement, was confronted by the ghost, during which he got killed by the glass door closing behind him. Kathy, in her room, felt pleasant with the fragrant stuff, while the ghost was curious about her, just behind. Since the family didn't have the spectral eyeglass, they were not able to see the ghosts. She tries with the bathtub, where the ghost actually waits, watching her to kill. Arthur manages to find Kathy, and they both realize that the house is now locked, and they are trapped inside. Meanwhile, Bobby is lost in the basement, and encounters another ghost that tries to trap him. Arthur asks Kathy to stay in the car, while they search for Bobby. Dennis explains that the glass used in the containment cubes is ectobar, which is shatterproof and soundproof, making it impossible for Bobby to hear them. Kathy thinks that Dennis is out of his mind for believing in ghosts and spells. Bobby eventually sees the ghost through the eyeglass and runs, hitting his head on a glass door and losing consciousness. Arthur, with the help of Dennis, enters the basement to search for Bobby and find a way out of the house. Dennis gives his eyeglass to Maggie, who previously doubted the existence of ghosts, and they see that the basement doors are open, which was not the case earlier. While they search, Dennis encounters one of the ghosts and shows Maggie that he was telling the truth. Cyrus also appears, taking Bobby away, while screaming. Arthur plans to split up and search the basement in order to find Bobby and escape the house. Maggie was shocked to realize that ghosts are real, while Dennis took back the glass and got scared seeing a vision of himself being crushed by the juggernaut and dying in the house. Arthur and Kathy searched in one corner of the basement, where she found the eyeglass dropped by Bobby. Meanwhile, Dennis discovered that the jackal was free and they should leave the house immediately, abandoning the search, since it was a psychotic ghost known as the Charlie Manson of the ghosts. That was insanely violent, and Bobby's chances were low. When Kathy questioned if the ghosts were true, Arthur stupidly denied it. At that moment, Kathy wore the eyeglass, and saw the jackal standing before her, tearing down her dress and attacking her. Suddenly, Kalina appeared out of nowhere, throwing flares and helping Arthur, pulls Kathy away from the jackal. Dennis and Maggie were confronted by another ghost with an arrow, piercing its head. Kathy was saved by one of the doors that stopped the ghost jackal with the spells on it. Dennis warned Maggie, who was about to be attacked by the blonde ghost, and guided her to safety. Kalina asked Kathy to share the eyeglass with Arthur, so that he could see what was attacking them. Arthur saw the ghost for the first time, and was shocked. He asked Kalina to show the way she got into the house, so his family could leave. But Kalina said that she slipped through the doors, while the house was shifting, and now it was closed. She showed Arthur the book Arcanum, written by Basilius in the 15th century, about the power one could acquire by enslaving ghosts, while under demonic possession. Many tried to acquire the book, and died, unfortunately. The paragraph describes how one can obtain the power to see the future by enslaving the souls in the house. Kalina wonders if Cyrus has built the machine as the house. However, Arthur is more focused on saving his kids and ignores the house. While turning to pick up Kathy, he realizes she is missing and sees a ghost with an arrowhead watching them. Kalina urges them to leave the place and move on. Meanwhile, Maggie and Dennis are running in the corridor and get separated by a glass. Dennis suddenly gets hurt and Maggie uses the eyeglass to help him to safety. Kalina suggests that the library should be safe for now, and they move on, while one by one the ghosts are getting free in the house. Suddenly, Dennis feels a kind of seizure, and the ghost jackal attacks Arthur. Dennis throws a flare and saves him. They reach the library, and Kalina starts blaming Dennis, saying that it's their fault for capturing the ghosts in the first place, leading to their current state. Dennis explains that he gets seizures within 10 seconds of touching anything dead, and sees the full life of a person he touches. During the fight, Kalina brings up that Dennis has not told them everything about the fourth ghost. Dennis tries to stop her, but she informs them that it's Arthur's wife, who died in the hospital due to a fire accident. Arthur hits Dennis in anger that his wife is trapped because of Dennis and Cyrus. Kalina suggests that Arthur can still save his kids by telling them about the machine and how it works. The design represents the Black Zodiac, and Kalina starts telling them about each ghost and what they are capable of, as they are handpicked by Cyrus for this purpose. According to Basilius' design, the ghosts are drawn to the center of the house and energize it, so that the person controlling it can see the ocularis infernum. Arthur realizes that it is Latin and tells them that it means the eye of hell. Dennis realizes that he knows something about it. According to Kalina, there are already 11 ghosts in the house, and the house needs a 12th ghost as a sacrifice and death out of love. Dennis interrupts, saying that Damon had earlier told them that the house needs a 13th ghost as a fail-safe for it to work. However, Kalina disagrees and suggests that Arthur to sacrifice himself, as he has a pure heart full of love, and to become the 12th ghost. Dennis objects and offers to help Arthur find his kids one more time. Arthur comes up with an idea to carry the glass wall with the spells on it, so that they can pass through the house safely. While going down, Arthur and Dennis were attacked by a ghost that Dennis had seen in his vision. Meanwhile, Maggie and Kalina find the lawyer dead in half. Maggie finds Cyrus near the machine, mistaking him for a ghost, but he appears to be alive, and Kalina knocks Maggie unconscious. Dennis sees the ghost that was killing him in his vision, and when he tries to corner Arthur to safety with the glass wall, the Juggernaut ghost breaks Dennis in two halves and kills him. Cyrus orders Kalina to place the kids in the center of the house, where the machine is rotating. He starts the spell to open the eye of hell. When the spells are transmitted, all the ghosts get to the center of the house. At that time, Arthur meets his wife for a moment. Cyrus gets the book from Kalina and traps her to death, with a glass door squeezing her. Arthur gets to the center of the house and finds that all the ghosts are placed around the machine. He also sees his uncle Cyrus and remembers what Dennis told him earlier about the 13th ghost. He realizes that he is the 13th ghost and that Cyrus is not dead. While confronting Cyrus, he gets knocked out and is forced to sacrifice himself. But at that time, Maggie plays havoc with the machine controls, wreaking damage to the recording. The ghosts get to Cyrus and kill him by throwing him into the spinning blades at the center of the machine. Dennis, as a soul, informs Arthur that he can still save his kids and that it's not over yet. He asks him to believe in himself and use the power of his love for his kids. Arthur then leaps into the center of the machine, in a slight gap, when the spinning blades sink for a moment. Finally, the machine gets completely destroyed, running havoc. All the captured ghosts are set free, as the house is broken and open. Dennis leaves, with a sigh of relief, and Arthur rejoins with his kids, who are safe, while seeing his wife, for the last time as her soul departs. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe for more. Your support means a lot and helps us continue creating content. We look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.